So now what I want to check is if we get a cookie. So it successfully logged in, and we did not get a cookie. That means we gotta do some debugging. So what I'm curious about is that it's also not showing the, maybe I just need to go to all. Yeah, I just need to go all. So here's the post request that we sent, and a cookie should get set. Now, one thing we haven't added yet is when we create our Apollo client, credentials, we need to set to include. So I don't think it's default options. I'm just gonna go to the Apollo doc so I don't mess it up. Okay, so I add it to the HTTP link. So I don't know if it's include, same origin, or let's try include. I can't remember if there's another name for it. How do you activate the Vim mode? It's on by it's on by default like the plugin. I use JK to go from insert mode to command mode though. So what's interesting here is it's telling us it's trying to set 2 cookies. It's trying to set an ID and a QID. I'm not sure why it's trying to set 2. Hey Deltoid. So now we're going to start debugging the cores. And so that's primarily going to be fiddling with the server, I think. So here's what I'm going to start with. I'm going to not have a name here, and I'm not going to set these properties. We'll let the server restart. Then we're going to log in again. And to be able to continue to just spam the login button, we're going to have to say set submitting false after we're done. So we want that. All right, so when I do that, now I only get a single cookie. So that seems more correct. I'm not sure why it was sending us multiple cookies before. The other thing I want to check is if it tells us what the origin is. It does, and that's what we're on. All right, so let's go check out where we're doing this. So we're saying credentials true, origin. So it doesn't work for the server when we're using GraphQL Playground either. we're gonna try just passing the cores through this. So I'm not sure the best way to, I guess, debug whether it's a cores problem or something else. Don't think it's related to cores, just because we're able to make requests, okay? The funny thing is this exact code works in other places, I think. Can you use some type field date in this project, some longitude, the current date, maybe, or some other attribute? I probably tried to handle these, but I don't have success. Are you talking about with like custom scalar dates? Alright, so what's running through my brain right now is maybe I should just switch to GraphQL Yoga. At least in my mind, I don't see any reason why this should not work. What does a code ponder even do? Like, I don't even know if it's like a thing. It's just like a name that I came up with. But before I switch out the Apollo server, I think what I want to do is I want to install an earlier version of Apollo Server Express. Sorry, Ben, had to step away. You're having difficulty with the cookie. Yeah, for some reason, it's not getting set. So where I'm at is, here we are. We have credentials set to true here. But what problem is your project solving? Basically what we're what is the project? People that codeaudits.com dropped like yesterday. Well, let's go check this out. Basically, it is a basically you can get a code review. How do I find this website? So we have it set to include, I mean, just for kicks, we could try same origin, but I don't think that's what it is. Info about the project. Oh, the domain is free. I thought you were talking about a site. Oh, that's insane. That's a really good name. So like, wow, you can just buy it right now. Codeaudits.com. I kind of feel like just buying this right now, to be honest. This seems like a strictly better name than what I have. Codeaudits.com. Well, let's see if I can beat someone to purchasing it. Let's put on my secret image and go get my credit card. So now we're just on a race to beat the trolls. All right. I don't know, you guys like .io or .com better? I'm gonna go with .com with this. I think you can use Bitcoin on Namecheap. I don't think I have enough. I don't think I have legit Bitcoin. All right, well, it's spinning. Looks like we got it, guys. Your order placed on is complete. Use the order number to contact us for support. Looks like I can go manage it. Let's see if I need to just confirm it. Well, thank you, Main Machine, for the heads up. Yeah, it doesn't look like I have to confirm it. Alright, we can take this guy off. Alright, so I now have two domains, codeaudits.com and codeponder.com. Sure, I'll take a few million. That sounds good to me. Alright, yeah, I was going to try same origin, and I think it'll do absolutely nothing for me. Yeah, absolutely nothing. You'll buy 10% of the shares? Alright, I would like an evaluation at 7 billion. What was it gonna do? Yeah. So we'll put that back to include. I'm gonna put this back to what I have it. Alright, so at least. So here's my plan. So if I look at my full stack project and I go to this Apollo server branch, what are you waiting on local storage? I'm not using local storage for anything right now. Oh, I'm checking when I have this application up. I'm in. Oh, I'm retarded. Oh my gosh. That's rough. You literally just saved the day. Like, straight up. I was about to spend hours debugging that. Like, straight hours. Oh my gosh, and it was working the entire time. Well, we can put this back. I'll go ahead and keep that name. Dang. I'll give you 20% of the shares after that. Alright. Alright, so we can proceed. Excellent. Let's get rid of all this junk. I mean, it was so weird that it wasn't working. Because, like, I was basically taking it from a project that had worked for me, so. Alright, let's proceed, guys. So now we have authentication pretty much done. And we have the cookie on the user, so we know who they are. And have we made the me query? We haven't. Yeah, for real, shout outs. Let's add the me query real quick. So this is going to be a resolver. can you use an example how to handle dates in GraphQL? If we end up using dates in this particular project, I will. I'm not sure if I'm going to be directly using dates. What are you wanting to do with them? Okay, so here we are going to say, if there is a session, then we can try finding it, otherwise we're returning null. Are you going to sleep? Yes. At some point I will be. I'm basically, we're going to see how it goes. Alright, see you digital, and see how it goes. I'm basically just going to code till my brain is more mush than it is now, and we'll see how it goes. And we'll also see how far we'll go, because right now I haven't actually even really started anything. Do I just need to make this asynchronous? No. We'll read the type. We'll read this, what it's complaining about the types in a second. Because, oh, we should say find one. That's what it wants. So that's one problem. So we're checking the session. We're seeing if we have a user ID in there. If we do, we'll try to find a user based on that. Otherwise, we just straight return null. And then from me, are we directly returning a user? Yeah, we are. I thought we were going to use AppSync for this project because of the quick setup. So I was considering using some different stuff for this, so I didn't have to set all this junk up, which I'm going to talk about more in the future. I'm thinking about setting up some like CLIs for this, but I didn't want to get to a point where I didn't know how to do it in AppSync or Hasura or Prisma, and then I spent the rest of the 24 hours just like wrangling with the tool. So instead, I would rather wrangle with this, which I know slightly better. So here we go. Type promise is null, type signable. So promise user. Okay, so this is possibly undefined, and that's what it doesn't like. So you don't have to do a wait here because we're going to return a promise either way. What it doesn't like is it's expecting null back, and this possibly returns undefined. And undefined and null are different things in TypeScript. So here's what we're going to do instead. So we're going to say const user, and now we'll go ahead and just split this up and use a wait. If we get a user, we return user. Otherwise, we return null. And we'll just put it at the top. We're going to say if not rec.session Alright, so first we check if we have the thing in the session. If we don't, we return null. We have a user ID, we look up the user, we return it. If we didn't get a user, we just return null. Now everyone's happy. Yeah, exactly. So I want to get to a point where we actually get something on the screen. And that's what we're going to be working on next. So we have the login and stuff. Let's see. So now I want to create a screen where someone can create a code request. Let's save our code. Alright, so we're going to create a new entity called code request. Why it is session instead of session? Because session can possibly be undefined. So to tell TypeScript I know it's not going to be undefined, I can tell it that by putting an exclamation mark at the end. Alright, so this is going to have an ID. And what are the other columns? Here are the columns that I'm thinking about. So ID, so num days. This is going to be a number. Yep, basically just to get past it. That's right. And this is going to be an integer. So what I'm thinking here is when someone requests a code review, they may need that code review in a week. They may need that code review in a month. So they can specify, I would like to get this code review in like at least the next 3 days or something. And that's what they specify there. We're just going to call this code URL. So this is the link to their code. It does not need to be unique. Now this is interesting. I want to store the programming languages. So like for example, the user can say, I would like a code request. Here are the languages I'm using for this project. Python, and I'm also using Django, and I'm using, well, I guess Django isn't a language, but you know, like basically on some tags of like programming languages or technologies that the project uses that someone needs to be familiar with. And the question is, how should I store this in my database? Could normalize it. I think that'll just be annoying though. So I'm trying to decide whether I should store this as a JSON-B column or if I should just store this as an array of strings. Because you can do that in Postgres. Let's see what options we have for searching Postgres array, and let's see if that covers everything I want. Yeah, so I think I'm either gonna do an array or a JSON-B storage of it. The question is, so like I know for sure JSON-B has really nice search. Like if I want to search that column, like for example, I can think of a query I might want. Dark mode would be great because really nice is great. Yeah. What I'm thinking is you're not actually going to review the code on our website. You're actually going to review it on GitHub. So what I'm thinking is you may want to search and be like, give me all the code reviews that have Python or that use React. And I'm not sure if I can index a Postgres array column. Why is reviewing on GitHub a bad idea? Because they already have built-in functionality, so that's something I don't have to code. I don't think I'm going to go with Postgres arrays, actually. See if we can put an index on it. Okay, you can do a gen index. Cool, that's what you can do for post JSON-B columns too. So maybe I can do Alright, I don't think it's gonna matter which one we choose either way. I'm gonna go with just a regular array, since that's really what our data is. And we'll see if this bites us. I think it'll be easy enough to swap this out later. So is simple array what I want? I want an array of strings. Typeworm. Yeah. Simple array type and Postgres arrays are different. Support for Postgres arrays implemented in latest Tapeworm. See this example. Awesome. Alright, so we're going to say string text array true. Oh, it's like that. Alright, sweet. And this is going to be, let's call it tags. Should I call it programming language tags or should I just call it tags? Let's say tech tags is what I'm going to call it. That might be a terrible name, but it kind of encompasses both. It's not just programming languages, but maybe frameworks as well. And then lastly, we're going to have a column, we're going to call it notes. And this is going to include anything from, I'm thinking about putting stuff there like, maybe if you're like dealing with a specific problem that you want to tell the code reviewer about or something like that. Cool. So next thing, let's just create a new module, which I'm going to call code request. And we're going to say create, and we're going to just create that. So it's going to be a mutation. It's going to be a response, and here we're going to have, I guess we're just going to return back any errors that happen, and then also the object itself. So error, and we're going to say code review, and let's create the input type. And we'll just follow this format. All right. All right, so num days, here we're going to have an integer, and that's going to be required. The code URL. Actually, should we make the number of days required? Nope. We're going to say that's an optional field. You may not care when the code request needs to be complete by. You have to give us a code URL, and we're going to have a string of tags, but the tags may be an empty array, and then notes. Should we make the notes optional? No, I think you should at least say something. All right. So this is a mutation. just going to generate the types for it real quick. Let's see if the server has any errors. Sometimes you have to just totally restart it whenever you make changes to the .graphql files, I've noticed. It doesn't always reread it in. I just made that. Did I put semicolons any other place? No, okay. So I named, for some reason I called this request. This should be review. Maybe I should really call this code review request. Yeah, let's call it like that. That's just going to be super descriptive, and I like that. And let's just append code review request. Because we may have a separate thing for the actual code review, so let's just be... So now it says create code review request response. That's a little confusing. Let's run with it though. And we are going to add that. So code review request.graphql. So you can have an ID. And it's going to pretty much match what we have right here. All right, I'm guessing we have a naming difference. Yeah. What am I coding? I'm creating a marketplace for code reviews. All right, so this could be our arguments. And I guess we're going to create a schema to validate that as well. It's going to be what? Input. And it's not giving me code completion, so I think I'm doing something wrong. Let's see what's going on here. All right, so yep, we have the type correct. Nope, it's happy now. I just need to go visit that file. So the input, and let's create a schema for it. Nah, we're skipping the schema. I decide we're just gonna plow through this. We're gonna say const code review request, and we're just gonna straight create it. Does it map directly in? I believe it does. Looks like this is in the works codereview.com. Yeah, let's go check that out in a second. Num days are incompatible. Number null undefined is not assignable to number or undefined. Yeah, that's kind of annoying. Let's just pass these in one by one, I suppose, and then handle them. Code URL, notes, tech tags. Okay, so let's see what they don't like about each one. The other thing we need to add here is a user. So this is going to have an owner column, and let's go check out Typeworm's docs for that. So one owner can have many, so we're going to do one to many. And we literally have the exact same setup as this person. It's going to be user.codereview requests. And we're going to lazy load it, so we're going to say promise. And we can add a join column here and specify the name, I believe. They don't have an example here. Name, and we're going to call this owner. So the owner here, we're going to say column owner is a string. And then we have to create the other side of the relationship on user. Yeah. Basically, there's null and there's undefined, and TypeScript differentiates between the two. So if it expects null, you can't pass undefined, and vice versa. And we're going to return this. Error is going to be empty array. Don't think we need anything with the, yeah, we do actually need something from the request. We need to specify the owner. So we're going to say request.session.userid. So now this route, we need the user to be logged in to do. So we need to add some middleware. Alright, so we'll add that in a second. Let's check out this site. Oh, I see. So they haven't started it yet, it looks like, or they're currently building it. Now, what do I want to use for this? I'm just going to use my own library, I think. And let's create a middleware. We're going to say is authenticated. All right, so that's what we're going to do. Did I add a user middleware? Yeah, I did. Nice. So I just added the chain and it's not finding it. We'll restart. So here what I do is if not session. So if not, we're going to be accessing the context, which is going to have a request in it. So what happened? Why is this not getting, why is it not finding the library? Maybe it's a problem with one of my dependencies. Maybe I screwed up the library. Well, we'll just switch over to GraphQL middleware then. It's going to be virtually the same thing. Yikes. Yeah, it is. All right, well, we're back in business then. GraphQL middleware. Thanks, Mr. 427. I think you're right. He gives something like random path, those undefined checks, chains are ugly. Yeah. In this particular case, I strictly should just be using Ramda's checks, or there's some, there's a bunch of different like equivalents to that particular function. The reason why I'm not using it in other places is I usually lose TypeScript definition. Like you don't know what the type you get back from it anymore. But that's probably okay because, well, it's kind of ugly to write this. All right, so we have GraphQL chain now. We don't care about the parent or the args in here or the info in this case. So what I like to actually create is like these things which I call stacks. And here I'm gonna create a stack, and this is gonna be like regular users, or I guess standard. I don't know what I call it. So like, yeah, let's just call it standard stack. And what this is it's going to be just some middleware that I use often. In this case, it's just going to be is authenticated for now. Did I export it? You know, this actually might break everything. We're about to find out. I don't know if I can use GraphQL chain with this library. So this will be interesting to see if this works. Yeah, this is kind of what I expected to happen. Is I don't think this library pairs well with how I'm doing my resolvers here. I'm just gonna go back to middleware. Standard stack. All right, goodbye again. I wonder if I should add this middleware, where I should add this middleware. We're just gonna have a giant function that this stuff happens in, I think. Here we're just going to say GraphQL. Here we're gonna say I don't want to delete it yet. We're gonna create a file which we're gonna call middleware.ts, I guess. Is this your website? I don't think it's his website. We're gonna be using apply middleware. Will there be a record? Yes. So this is gonna go up on my YouTube channel after this is done. Okay. So this doesn't change. We're gonna create a middleware and then we're gonna apply it over here. And we'll just call it middleware because I don't want this name to be conflicting with GraphQL middleware. All right. Now, does it mention anywhere here how to get the type definitions for that? Looks like maybe I use something here. Middleware resolvers. How often do I stream? I haven't streamed in a while. Why TypeScript over JavaScript? I like it better, and I feel like I can code faster in it. I know in this it probably doesn't show very well because there's definitely a lot of tooling that you have to set up correctly first. But assuming you can set up tooling correctly, TypeScript, I feel like I can just the feedback loop is smaller, and I catch a lot of errors before I do it wrong. So here we're gonna add art is authenticated. So I'm thinking about how I want to do this so I don't replicate code too much. Yeah, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick and then we're gonna figure out how to do this is authenticated function with this middleware. So I'm gonna put everything in one file right now and then we might split this out later. So I'm gonna call this just like standard middleware. So is authenticated just takes the request and then decides what to do. I'm using Babel and Backend for GraphQL, but I'm unable to debug. What do you mean you're unable to debug? You vote for Trump? I did not. Middleware, mutation, create standard middleware. Yep, that looks solid. It shows error for import keyword. Are you talking about when you run it with Babel, or are you talking about in VS Code? Alright, let's just see how we use apply middleware. So we pass in our schema and then everything else. Cool. What am I making? I'm making a marketplace for code reviews. Alright, so I think this should guard this function now. So let's go ahead and use this so it matches. And let's see if our server starts up. Unable to generate server introspection document. Do I have to use a special command like Babel debug? I use Babel node. This is so weird. We're applying the middleware. Alright, so we have an executable schema. We put that as the first parameter and our middleware as the second. That's exactly what we did. And now it can't introspect. I'm just going to totally restart it. See if that does anything. And let's just review if I did anything wonky here. Alright, I'm probably doing something super silly, but to be honest, I just don't want to even deal with this. So we're just going to do this the old-fashioned way. Because there's no point in fighting with these tools right now. We're going to get rid of this. And the easiest way is at the top of our function, we're just going to call it is authenticated and pass in the request. Babel node debug to use this npm package. I haven't tried that. I just use straight up Babel node. Yeah, let's just go ahead and build the form for it.